The stark reality coming out of the budget consultations held on Thursday and Friday at the Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel is that profligate spending and feasting by the government of Belize in the past decade or so is almost directly responsible for the current time of famine. According to Financial Secretary Joseph Waight, in addition to its own belt tightening, the government finds the need to pass on that pain to the people it serves in the form of increased taxes.
We can't rule out that there's very likely to be a tax increase. What the components are, we don't know just yet. That's still this is a process we're going through, but I think it's at this point in time it's inevitable that there will be an increase in some taxes. We're trying to see what items that can least impact the economy, but at the same time generate the resources needed. Now there is some rigidities in the expenditure profile. Wages, transfers, interest payments, pensions, those things are very hard to compress, leaving what may be more compressible would be goods and services. And you go back to the usual things, fuel, utility usage, and also procurement, more efficient procurement of goods and services for the government of Belize. But there's a small menu of things you can really look at to squeeze down expenditure because there's so much rigidity in the system.
The government faces a correction of 3% of GDP with a projected outlook of negative 0.6% in growth. With that in mind, the current administration turned to its social partners for ideas, and there are plenty of them.
The business community essentially gave some valuable input, story being that they were concerned that whatever measures the government takes is equitable, easy to implement, and would not retard or depress growth. They said that a lot of time the government should try to improve its administration, its efficiency first, before moving to taxes or increasing taxes in that case. The unions are saying pretty much the same thing, that there's room for government to tighten its belt. Of course, they're also concerned about what they perceive to be inefficiencies and maybe inequities in the system. But we're getting ideas from them, and at the end of the day, what we plan to do is put everything together and see how it matches, and then take that back to cabinet and report that back to our principal.
The trade union's principle in this matter is of doing the least harm and the most good to the national economy. For them, that is a combination of self-subsistence and a changed outlook.
Generally, what we did was actually call on government to say, if we're going to have austerity measures, let everybody be on board. So that we have to look at how we diversify agriculture, how we put in policies for procurement, how we do better tax enforcement rather than just introducing new tax laws. How do we enforce what we have? How we bring the informal sector over into the formal sector? How we increase our export? Stop bringing in things that we already have here. Encourage our people to have subsistence farming and that kind of thing. While I agree with you that we have to increase income, we have to raise the revenue, I'm not sure that I would totally agree with you that we must increase tax. But of course, I'm sure it's a discussion on the table, albeit the response we received today is it is something that's being looked at, but it is not something that have actually been decided. And in the meantime, we do have the tax reform committee going on. So when and if government decides that this is the route, we will know.
Whilst we understand that there's going to be an increase on tax, I think we have to, and we might not be able to stop it, but we definitely intend to work along the line to ensure that the folks that are exempted and the amount of tax releases and breaks that are out there, we can now better become policemen in the system. And if we become a bit more vigilant in the way we do our work, we'll be able to ensure that there's no more lack in collecting where we can, because on the end of the day, it comes down to public officers.
Neil also spoke about having everyone chip in to address instances of government and public sector waste, from ministers to relatives of public officers. Meanwhile, the business community believes, according to Senator Mark Lizarraga, that government cannot afford to not become more efficient.
The government, I think, or the people that we spoke to, certainly have indicated to us that they have sent to the government ministries and departments that there needs to be a cut. And they're talking about a cut of around 5%. Some people believe that that is a bit too little, but, let's see. As we said, We have not been presented with the final budget, of course, as yet. They're still in budget consultations, and we hope that wisdom will prevail and that at the end of the day, the government will focus more on becoming more efficient, not only in collecting taxes from where the taxes are being leaked, but also in the way they spend our tax dollars. Because if the intention is to put more burden on those sectors that are already burdened, it just makes us less competitive as a country.
Aaron Humes reporting for News 5.